This morning in North Carolina, wheels are spinning. Determination is winning. A passion is now a thriving business, and it shows no signs of slowing down. How? The power of a conversation, like the one Clint Spiegel had with First Horizon Bank about starting a bike wheel manufacturing facility in Asheville. Now it's not just talk, it's rubber meets road. First Horizon Bank. Let's find a way. Go to firsthorizon.com/Clint. First Horizon Bank, member FDIC.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Handle with Care, Cancer and Beyond is a podcast that gives everyone and anyone a place to come and keep it real about their cancer experience. Welcome to Handle with Care, Cancer and Beyond.
And we're here with another episode of Handle with Care, Cancer and Beyond. And today is a very, very beyond episode. And I say very, very beyond because we're not recording in the studio, so it might sound a little different. So please, bear with us. It's not bad. It's just not the studio quality. And why is that, Carrie?
It's fun stuff.
It's funner stuff.
It's funner stuff because we're at Raincross Barbershop.
Yeah, we're in Riverside, California at the Raincross Barbershop.
It's our new hangout. It's our new home away from
is.
home, right?
Yeah, they have a Domino's right down there.
Oh, the owner just said not after tonight.
Not
we're
after
cut
tonight.
off.
Is that because I'm showering in the sink?
I don't know. Look how many there's so many TVs in here.
Yeah, it's awesome.
There's like 7 TVs in here.
Every time you sit down and get your haircut as a person, you sit there and you're like, okay, what do I look at? Do I stare at myself? Do I stare at them? Like they're looking at your bangs. Like what do you do? They've made it perfect. So the TVs are up to the top of the wall.
Ah, yes.
Where you can just stare at the TV while they cut your hair.
Yeah. I was thinking about getting an undercut like Lisa from 1989.
Do it.
Yeah, you're kind of young, though. You probably don't know who that is.
I know who Lisa is.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I think I met her once at one of those flashback concerts with Evelyn. But,
right?
Yeah, so no, we're here at Raincross, and this is going to be one of those check-in episodes. And before we get into it too much, please tell your friends about the show, rate, review, subscribe. We don't get paid to do this show at all. This is all for the Care Project, which you can go to thecareprojectinc.org. And we, just raise funds to help people going through difficult times.
Absolutely.
And right now, we're going to talk to Carrie, the mastermind, I'm going to say, because that would be probably the most polite way to put you're in charge of everything.
I'm the visionary.
Yeah.
I've learned that word recently.
Visionary?
Yeah, people say, oh, you're the visionary. And I'm like, yes, I have big, bright ideas, and I think we should do this.
Good name.
But I have no idea how to do it.
And
so then I go to my team and I say, I want to do this.
Which, mind you, your team's badass.
Yeah.
You have a very extended, big team that could probably conquer the world if they really wanted to.
You think?
Yeah. I mean, they're too busy
with enough alcohol.
Hanging out at a barbershop, drinking beer, watching Monday Night Football to go and do that. But
we
they
are
could if they
Monday
really
Night
put
Football.
their
This could be a whole new show.
It could be.
Monday Night Football with Care.
With Care. It's tied right now, 7-7 against Philly and the Cowboys. But
I'm going for Philly, just FYI.
I have to go for the Cowboys.
Okay, whatever.
Just because 5 cent, that's all.
Whatever.
Okay, so we're going to check in with Carrie right now. She's had some, what do you call that?
Well,
when something happens, you've had some accoutrement? No, that's not even close to what I'm trying to say. You've had some happenings.
Concerns.
Not even concerns. You've had some upcomings in your world that
my cancer
are
land.
bringing you to the doctor and stuff. So what's happening?
Yeah. So I preparing for our big fundraising event, Havana Nights, which we had a couple months ago.
Which rocked, by the way.
Or a month ago.
The
Gosh,
MCs were the best.
I know, right? These people. So, yeah, I was lifting a box out of my garage to put in my car and take to the Care Project office in preparation for the event. And it wasn't a particularly heavy box, but it was really bulky. And so I had to really stretch both my arms out to get around this box and lift it, get it into my car, and then get it out of my car and into the office. And I am not supposed to lift anything heavier than a gallon of milk.
Yeah, that was my question. Why?
Well, because I needed to get it done.
Stubborn.
I know.
I mean, I understand being stubborn if you hadn't gone through breast cancer.
But here's the thing. So here's the thing. I've been going to Pilates for about 6 months, and so I've developed like all this core strength that I have not had in years.
That's awesome.
So normally, if I lift something that I'm not supposed to, my lower back, because I have 5 bulging discs, will really ache like immediately. I know I've done wrong, right? My back didn't hurt at all.
No, it was everything else.
But my left arm was killing me. My left arm is the one that had all the lymph nodes removed. It's the side of my cancer where I had a ton of radiation and I have a shit ton of scar tissue.
It's like your arm can't keep up with your core.
My arm cannot keep up with anything. And so when I reach straight, like picture yourself driving in the car and you're doing like the gangster lean and you put your one arm up on top of it. I'm giving a visual, people.
Okay, hold on. Do you have Sharpie eyebrows?
Yes, you have to have Sharpie eyebrows. No, fool. But imagine if you put one arm straight ahead on top of the steering wheel, right?
Okay.
So if I do that with my right arm, I have no problem. My left arm, where I had all kinds of radiation and I have a ton of scar tissue, it's like frozen rubber bands. Oh. So when I stretch it, I kind of spasm in my upper back and the front of my chest.
Did that happen when you lifted this box?
It did not happen at the time, but afterwards, probably the next day, I was having sharp pains all in my left armpit and my left chest where I had my mastectomy. And I just thought, okay, it's scar tissue spasming, not a big deal. But then it started just radiating, and I thought, oh, crap. And, of course, the reality of a survivor is, oh, God, it's back.
Oh, yeah. I think she texted me, I'm dying from cancer.
Yeah. I was like, I think I have lymphoma.
Yeah. I think that's what it was, lymphoma.
Yeah, I've already diagnosed myself. I know. I'd already diagnosed myself.
WebMD, stop. Get off.
I know. Dr. Google, here I come. So, long story, fast forward. I ended up talking to my primary care doc. And I went in and I saw Dr. Martin, and she did an exam, and she goes, you know, I don't feel anything other than scar tissue, but let's go ahead and order a CT of your chest because you haven't had one in a year, and typically I get one once a year anyway.
Yes.
So I get a CT, and it shows one swollen lymph node, and I'm a little freaked out because that, of course, could be a sign of cancer returning.
Correct.
But my blood work looks good.
Okay.
In that, my cancer markers are low. It was like an 8. Anything under 30 is normal.
Oh, well, shit. Then you're
right?
low.
So I'm like, okay, but it's not a end-all, be-all. It's just an indicator. So
cancer might be lazy now.
Yeah,
it's
it
like,
might
I'll
be.
eventually get those numbers up.
Yeah, right?
But right now, it's just going to be sore for a little bit. But
yeah, so I'm just
kidding.
like, oh my gosh, okay. So then I had an upcoming appointment with my oncologist anyway, which is my every 6-month appointment. Dr. Ruby says, hey, what's this CT scan that I see that Dr. Martin ordered? And so I tell her, she goes, okay, I would have done that too. She goes, you know what, let's just do a bone scan also, just in case. Okay. You haven't had one in over a year.
And what would that detect?
So it would detect if breast cancer had metastasized to the bones, which is very common.
The bone marrow and stuff?
Yeah, in the bones. Okay. So it's very common for breast cancer to come back into the bones, the liver, or the brain. So the first question...
The liver...
And the brain.
Oh, my God.
So anytime I go in for a checkup, the first question my oncologist asks is, are you having any headaches? I'm like, no, why should I?
You're like, no, the tequila keeps that away.
Yeah, the tequila keeps the headaches away.
Sorry, Doc. I'm just kidding.
So she ordered then a bone scan. So the bone scan came back. My bones are great. No cancer in the bones. Thank God.
Okay.
So the bone scan's cool. I have one swollen lymph node according to CT of the chest. The oncologist says, let's go ahead and do an ultrasound on the armpit because that's where the swollen lymph node is.
Okay. Wouldn't the CT figure...
No, so the CT gives like a picture, obviously, but the ultrasound goes deeper. Okay. It gives a close-up photo, a close-up view, if you will,
and not just a still photo either at that point, because you can move it around like like a baby was born.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. What do I know? Anyways,
you had
I go
baby?
in.
Come on,
I had 3.
I know.
Ouch. So I go in. I have an ultrasound on the right armpit, and the results come back, and I have 2 swollen lymph nodes. And they're much larger than like a normal average size lymph node is about 1 centimeters in length. And there was 1.9. And the additional one, which nobody knew about, was 2.7.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then it said with cortical thickening. And I'm like, well, what the hell is that?
That sounds
So,
like
of course, I Google it,
sounds
which
like a
you're not
tennis shoe
supposed
line.
to do, right? Yeah.
Can you even spell that?
No.
Did you speak into Siri? Hey, Siri, what's cortical?
Absolutely. Absolutely. What is cortical thickening?
Oh, wow.
Of course, the first thing that comes up is it could be a sign of metastatic breast cancer.
Well, of course, everybody goes to those signs, those pages first because they're all freaking out. They all think they're going to die real quick.
Well, you know, when
I thought
you're
you were past this.
But when you're a survivor, you're never really past it. Even though you think you are, like there's always a trigger somewhere, and that's why I'm sharing it, right? Because
Yeah,
like
that's why we're talking
it's
about it,
normal.
of course.
It's normal. It's
I just like to make fun of you.
yeah, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because I'm on.
Well, okay. So then, what's the next steps? You got to get an update. You got to go out and.
Right now, the radiologist seems to think that it's totally benign. So my oncologist calls, says the radiologist thinks it's benign. I'm like, what do you mean he thinks? I need to know, right? We need absolutes in this cancer land.
I mean, it is also medical terms, so thinks is probably not something you should probably use.
Yeah, but she and I are friends, so she just gives it to me straight. So she's like, no, really? He said, like, I could give you his name. I'm like, I can see his name on the report. So anyways, what they're going to do is we agreed. I'm not okay with just thinking it's okay. I'm just not okay with that. And so what we've agreed upon as the compromise is we're going to wait 6 weeks and repeat the ultrasound to see if it's still swollen. Is it worse? Is it less? Is it stable? Because the COVID vaccine, which I had, is known to cause swollen lymph nodes.
Ah, wow. And I would assume that your lymph nodes are probably a little weaker than others.
I don't know if
know
that's
how that
possible.
works.
I don't know how it works either.
But
all I know is it's causing lymph nodes to flare.
Maybe you have less lymph nodes, so it can concentrate on like one or two.
Yeah, I don't know. That's really interesting point. I don't really know. All I know is I remember her telling me, hey, let your survivors know at the social club, at the Care Project,
that's smart.
that if they're going to have any routine scans, because we all have routine scans.
Yeah, and if anything comes up,
inflamed, don't automatically freak out because
like
it could be, because I did, because it could be the vaccine. So we're hoping it's reactionary in his mind.
Wow.
That the body thinks it's fighting a virus, right? And so the lymph nodes swell.
That makes sense.
Right. So I don't know. So in a couple of weeks, they will repeat it, and then we'll update and see what happens.
And they're saying that's a side effect of the vaccine.
It could be a side effect of the vaccine.
But how long ago did you get the vaccine?
I had the vaccine 7 months ago was my last dose.
Jeez.
Now, according to, and again, there hasn't been studies done yet. This is so new.
Of course, it's all right now.
Right. But as of what they've said so far, reports are, typically the swelling goes down within 3 to 4 weeks from the last vaccine. Okay, this has been
it's been
months.
7 months. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a little alarming.
Yeah, it's a little odd.
But you know how I do shit, Chris. I go big.
Yeah, of course. You have to make sure you cover all your bases. You're like, if I'm going to get cancer, I'm going to get all the cancers.
I'm going to get all of it.
You're like, Yahtzee, motherfucker.
Yeah, so who knows? I mean, it could be. I mean, it could be nothing. But I live in a world at the Care Project where too many patients come in and say, well, the doctor said they were pretty sure it was benign, and it turned out not to be
benign, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why when I hear anybody say, well, they said they think it's this, I'm like, well, don't put that in your head either way. Because you don't know for sure. And if you get yourself all worked up, you're going to go in there, and it's just not going to be good for your anything. Mental health, of course.
So I will be honest and say that for probably half a day, I lost my mind quietly, and I thought, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. I think I did text you and say, I'm pretty sure I diagnosed myself with lymphoma already.
Oh, yeah, that was the text I got.
Right? But then I was kind of like, you know what? Let me take my own advice to other patients. No amount of me freaking out is going to change the outcome. We'll just wait and see. We'll take it test by test and call it a day. Because I am approaching 10 years from diagnosis.
And this is what you keep telling
And this is what I keep telling you, is that every stage 3 patient I know that did have a recurrence, and they all didn't, but those that did, it came back within 1, 5, or 10 years from date of diagnosis.
Maybe it learned to count more.
I mean, I hope.
It can do more than just 5, 10, 15, 20.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Maybe it's like, I'll do 47.
Yeah, I'm good with that. 47 would be okay.
That'd be good.
Yeah,
you'd be.
because I'm 50
God,
now.
you'd only be like, would you be like 74
I'd
by
only
then?
be like 97.
Well, we're still sitting here. It is a 14-7 game right now. The Cowboys are beating the
Cowgirls.
The Cowgirls
are beating the Eagles.
The Seagulls.
Shut it.
But yeah, that's happening right now. But we also have people here because
do.
You ordered Domino's from 2 doors down.
Yeah, and had it delivered.
I know. Yeah, we did. It was so awesome. And then we have some drinks here, but we brought some people in, and you brought a guy named Carl.
I did.
Want to give a little background on this guy?
I brought Carl because Carl is a friend of mine who is like a big brother, but also a business advisor and a mentor, and he's just a character. And we have experienced some of the same craziness. He's a cancer survivor, lymphoma, and he had a septic episode just like I did, which is in our episode 1, how we started this show.
Where you almost died?
Where I almost died, and I was at his bedside when he almost died. And so we are very bonded. But he's also a PR expert.
Bet he is. I got his card.
Yeah, he's been doing PR for years and years and years. And so he's got a real depth perspective of marketing. Mm-hmm. So I consult with him on everything. And one of the things that you and I have talked about is so important to us at the show is men's health.
Yes.
Because men just don't talk about their health.
And they don't deal with it.
They deal with it.
They just push it aside like I did for years. And
right.
Bury it and drink it away.
Yeah, you drink it away, you laugh it away, you joke it away. Whatever it is you do, you just don't deal with it. And so we wanted to kind of get his perspective from a PR marketing professional and a man who's been affected by cancer. What's the best way for us to reach men? How do we get them to listen, right? And
you're going to bring up the whole Beyonce Knowles' dad thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, he should, because he is an African-American man.
Absolutely.
And he should, with the expertise in PR.
Absolutely.
He'll know.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Let's bring him in.
Let's do it.
All right.
Hey, Carl, how you doing?
Blessed and highly favored. God's treating me like he loves me.
I love it. I love it. So I was just saying to our listeners that the reason that I wanted you to hear today is because, one, you're my good friend. You're like a brother and an advisor.
I thought it was because you love me madly. I thought this was a secret rendezvous. When I get here and all these other people are here. You did to me again.
I duped you. I duped you. But you are a PR professional.
Thank you
marketing master, also a man of color who has been affected by cancer. And this is the demographic, one of the demographics that we're trying to reach with our show.
Yes.
Right? So I wanted to hear straight from the horse's mouth, if you will, what, in your opinion, is the best way to reach men about their health? Like, it's so important to me, and I will say this for the 80th time on my show, I have 3 brothers. I don't have any sisters. So after my diagnosis in 2012, the first thing I Googled was, do men get breast cancer, right? And then, of course, I know you who's had lymphoma, correct?
Leukemia and lymphoma.
Both, because you had to go big.
Right. Because, hey, if you're going to do it, you should do it well.
Yeah. So between that and then all the other people I know who've been affected by some form of cancer, be it prostate, brain cancer, you name it, how do we reach the men? How do we engage men? Because one of my big issues, and I'm going to throw this out there and then I'm going to turn it over to you, is I'm an advocate, as you know, for the Male Breast Cancer Coalition. I only speak about breast cancer because that's the only experience I have. And 1 in 8 women are diagnosed. We all know this because the awareness campaign has been crazy for the last 30 years, which is awesome. But they've left out men. 1 in 833 men are diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. That's just breast cancer. Let's not talk about, prostate, lymphoma, leukemia. There's a ton
rest of the cancer.
All of them. They all matter, right?
Right.
But so here's the thing. I sat on a call with the Male Breast Cancer Coalition in which Dr. Matthew Knowles was a participant, who is better known as Beyonce's dad, who was diagnosed with breast cancer a couple years ago. And when he appeared on Dr. Oz and some other shows and other interviews, he says, yes, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. But then when he was on a call with the Male Breast Cancer Coalition, his fellow survivors and advocates, which is all available on YouTube under the Male Breast Cancer Coalition channel, he let us know that for marketing, his words, quote unquote, for marketing purposes, I choose to call it chest cancer because I want to reach men of color, in particular brown and black men. And how much better would they be able to feel about themselves if they were able to say I was diagnosed with chest cancer versus breast cancer? Now, in my mind, I understand that. I've been around African American men my entire life. I was married to one.
I'm saying
okay?
you've been married a couple.
I was married to, I was actually married to two. Shh, Carl, I don't tell everybody about the second one. But yes, I get it. It wasn't you. But I get it, right? I get it. However, coming from an awareness standpoint, it is incorrect. There is actually a classification for chest cancer, and it has nothing to do with the breast tissue.
Well, here's the issue, is that men's ego rules them. They would literally cut off their nose to spite their face.
Right.
And that is the issue. Do you want to get them help?
Right.
As I learned in therapy when talking to your teenage children, do you want to be right or do you want to have a relationship with them?
Right. And I get all that. I really do.
And you know, we can say we get it, but you know, I, as an African American male, have friends who are racist.
Yes.
People say, how can you be friends with that guy?
Right.
He's an effing racist.
Right.
And I say, I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I'm bringing him over.
Right.
And I know I'm bringing him over.
I get that.
Because I'm his friend.
Right.
And, you know, so sometimes you have to do what you have to do.
Totally get it.
To win.
Totally agree. However, let me ask you what you feel about this.
Right.
My words to him were, and again, you can view this on YouTube. You can see me talk to him with the hair standing up on the back of my neck. Just out of sheer frustration, right? Because I've worked very long and hard to desexualize this disease, first and foremost, and to degenderize it, right?
Right.
Because men, it's 1 in 8 women, 1 in 833 men, for breast cancer specifically.
Right.
But yet men die more often than women because they're diagnosed later stage because they just don't know what they don't know, right?
Right.
So my thought is, if you're going out there in the name of awareness and you're going to, quote unquote, I'm going to try to save lives by telling my story, you need to tell the truth. And here's my thing. This is what I said to him. I get it. And if you want to go out there and get their attention by saying, hey, I'd love to share my story with you about how I was diagnosed with chest cancer, but then let the punchline be, but guys, did you know it's actually breast cancer? Because men have breast tissue too. He balked at me. He laughed at me.
See, I hear and understand what
I'm
you're
annoyed.
saying.
I
know you're annoyed. We've had this discussion before.
Having a drink.
Let me give you.
Go.
Let me give you an example.
Yes.
Okay. When you and I were growing up, we drank water from a garden hose.
Yes.
There were faucets in the park. All over the place.
Yes.
Now you go to the store and you pay $1.50 for a bottle of water.
Yeah.
Go to a sporting event. If you go
pay
to
$5.
Pay $5. Right. If you go to someplace, you pay $10 for a bottle of water.
Right.
In 1975, if I would have said you'd pay $10 for a bottle of water, you'd have had my ass locked up.
Yeah.
My point is that if you market it properly, you win. We're paying $10 for a bottle of water.
Okay, but we're talking about people's lives.
No,
we're talking about people's
Stop.
lives. We are.
No. I know.
I know.
There.
You're a walking miracle.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, if we're talking about people's not lives, then what's the most important thing to do? Is it to save the life, or is it to be correct?
It's to save the life, but here's the problem, Carl. You're not going to. No. Okay, let me replace that with and.
Well, you've had some training. Go ahead.
And you are giving false information, because here's the deal. If he goes around telling young African American men that, hey, you could get chest cancer just like me, when those men go in and get diagnosed, guess what? Their doctor isn't going to say chest. They're going to say breast cancer. It's in your breast tissue. Chest cancer is not anatomically correct.
And Carrie, at that point, what does it matter?
It matters a lot. Because they've been misled. And so all the work that organizations like mine and the Male Breast Cancer Coalition has done to desexualize it, right? This is not an old white woman's disease.
No.
This is a human disease.
I am with you 100%.
Okay, so what is your expert opinion on, is it okay with you that Dr. Matthew Knowles says that it's chest cancer when it's breast cancer? Be honest. Keep it real.
Yes.
It is. Okay.
And here's why.
From a marketing professional,
exactly. It's from a marketing perspective.
Okay. So
it's just a matter
as a cancer survivor, what is your perspective?
I want them to live.
And
if I got to tell them that if you go get a diagnosis, you get a free car, I want them to live.
I call bullshit.
Let me give you an example.
I hear you.
Let me give you an example of men. My father dropped dead at 34 years old of a stroke when I was 6 years old and died in my arms.
Yes. That's terrible.
Health care was made crystal clear to me at a very early age. All my life, I get my annual checkups.
Right.
I get my annual checkups.
Right.
Right. When the doctor has an appointment for me, I go. I get my test. I do all that stuff I'm supposed to do. Right. They still didn't find my leukemia until I was stage 4. Stage 4. So my point is, you can do everything you're supposed to do. My doctor is a client. I get VIP treatment.
Right.
And it wasn't until now my doctor's office, they give everyone the big blood test once a year when you come in for your annual physical. Mm-hmm. They didn't do that before because it cost. Mm-hmm. But now they do it. And they do it because you have to catch stuff early, and the big blood test catches stuff early. So I'm saying, so now we're looking at the medical profession who knows all these things exist, but they intentionally did not give the big blood test because it costs too much money. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason why, because it costs too much money. But it's like, I think you should do it every year because it could be my life.
Right. But so here's my issue. Having raised a black man myself, who's now 32 and a father of 3.
And a fine young man.
Thank you.
Not so young anymore. A fine man. He's a fine man.
Right.
I'm sorry, I've been calling him a young man for a long time.
I know. So here's the thing, though. My thing is, we're dumbing down the message. So I'm fucking...
It doesn't matter.
Listen, I am insulted that you think that my son, who is a man of color, cannot digest the fact that he has breast cancer or has breast tissue. Hello?
Well, here's the thing.
I have a problem with that.
I wear glasses. I have wore glasses since I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
When I walked out of the doctor's office and I could see for the first time in my life, it was like the heavens opened up.
Right.
And the heavenly choir was singing
right,
down.
Right.
Like, I got to school and I was all kind of 4 eyes and binocular glasses. They called me every name in the book. I didn't care because I could see. Let me finish. There are a lot of people who do care. And so they don't wear their glasses, and they take their glasses off because they don't want to be teased. Men are horrible about teasing each other. Did you go get your breast checked? Are your titties okay, Joe? Well, you got titty cancer?
Well, that's why it's important to have these conversations so that we desexualize it and we get rid of that ignorant bullshit.
I would like you to explain to these people who don't want to get the COVID vaccine, since you're so good at that, please handle that problem for us.
Well, that's a whole other issue.
No, it's the same.
No, it's not. I call
issue.
Bullshit. I respectfully call bullshit.
You can call bullshit all
cancer
you want.
Cancer is cancer. Cancer will kill you, whether it's prostate, breast, chest, or brain.
A totalitarian government ruled by white supremacists will kill me.
Carl, that's another show, damn it.
No. What I'm
my
saying...
My point is, I'm offended I'm only speak for my son.
Right.
I'm offended for my son.
You're offended because you're a breast cancer advocate and they're not using the proper term.
They're not. It's clinically incorrect.
You're absolutely
right. For the sake of saying, like, it'll make him feel better to say chest. Really? No. At that point, if someone has to say I have cancer, nothing's going to make them feel better. So call that shit what it is.
I completely hear and understand what you're saying, and in a perfect world, I'm with you. But I got to tell you, as a marketer, when I'm trying to sell something, when they're selling Perrier, they don't lead with the fact that it makes you burp a lot.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom? Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details. With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
They don't talk about the burping when they're selling Perrier, do they?
I'm so
But
okay.
it makes you burp a lot.
This is my final question because we got to move on. I got to get my next guest over here.
Yeah, you're just saying that because you don't love me no more.
No, shut up. I love you unconditionally, but you're wrong on this.
Yes, you do.
So here's the thing. My issue. Chris is over there choking on his beer right now.
Right. And I know you love me unconditionally.
No,
as I do.
I just think that we've made such progress, and in particular the Male Breast Cancer Coalition and those that are advocates for it, like myself, we have worked tirelessly since they actually were formed the same year the CARE Project was. The CARE Project's mission statement has always included males. And so we've known from day one that men do get breast cancer. And let me just repeat, it's 1 in 8 women, 1 in 833 men. And this is not just a breast cancer show, but I'm using that since that's the hot topic for me right now.
I'm with you.
I just feel like we've made all these strides, and to dumb down the message is a complete and utter setback.
I understand what you're saying, and I want to let you know that since I was 8 years old, I've been fighting racism, and it's still here, and it just popped up its head again, and I'm feeling like all those years of fighting, and just when we thought we got it done, we had a black president, here we are, we went back 20 years. Shit happens. We got to deal the hand we're dealt.
Right. But we don't sugarcoat it. Do you think we're sugarcoating it now? We're facing these racial issues right now, head on. For the last 2 years in particular, it's been hot and heavy, right? Whether or not people respond is a whole other issue. But the fact of the matter is we've really, I think, made some strides in terms of being vocal and saying, no more
Texas
bullshit, right?
States are passing laws the whole state are passing laws to rob black people of the right to vote. I mean, this goes back to 1865, and it goes back to when we first got the right, and then they took it away after Reconstruction, and then we didn't get it back to 1964, 1965, and it didn't really wasn't actual until the mid-'70s. And now they're passing laws to end voting. So don't tell me that we got to say it right. And
well, we do.
We
do in all those instances.
My point is that you have to find the communication message that works and use
so
that
reel them
message.
in with a piece of candy and say, come on, we're going to have candy. And then when they get in, give them broccoli.
Yeah, it works for the guy.
I can't.
Works all
Get
the
out.
time.
I'm just kidding.
No.
Thank you. No, I really appreciate your opinion.
Well,
I do.
Do we want to save their life?
Yes, with the correct information. But I
don't want
So
to
we
have
feed-
breasts.
I don't care. You have breast tissue. You're a mammal. You're a mammal. You're a human mammal.
I don't care, but there are many men
because
who
that's
don't,
because
many
you
men
simply
who don't.
sexualize it.
But we're not going to unsexualize it.
But
We've been doing that
breast
for 2 million years.
I get it,
You
but
ain't gonna
but
undo
anatomy.
it in a decade.
Okay, I understand that, but anatomy says males and females, humans have breast tissue.
Do you know?
Period.
Do you actually?
No. Hear what I'm saying.
I heard you. You're absolutely right.
So therefore, if you get cancer in that region, it's breast cancer. End of story. Bye-bye.
Right.
Love you.
Yes, I know.
So, Carl, seriously, I really do thank you for your input. I do value what you say as my friend, as a cancer miracle survivor. As a black man who's worked in PR and marketing, I truly appreciate your opinion, and we will continue the conversation another day.
And I know you disagree, and I understand that. And, intelligent people can disagree. There's
Absolutely.
more than one path to the top of the mountain.
I agree.
But the goal is to get people diagnosed early and treated early so they live.
So they can live. Absolutely. We agree on that.
We agree on
Amen.
What the top
High
is.
five. Okay, so now I'm bringing in my next friend, Ruben Ayala. Hey, Ruben.
Hello. How are you?
I'm great. I'm a little, I had to take it down a notch. I had to do some breathing exercises after I talked to Carl.
Relax.
But I want to continue the conversation. The point of this episode is just to have a casual conversation about, men's health and what is the best way to reach men by way of our podcast, our social media posts, whatever. Chris, my co-host and producer, we talk about mental health in particular a lot, which is so important. One of the things not talked about often. But we also obviously talk about breast cancer since that's how this show started, but also all the other cancers, right, that affect men. So in your opinion, in my opinion, let me correct that. In my opinion, knowing you, I don't know how many years I've known you now, you are the epitome of a man's man. You are the man that like my dad was as a younger man, growing up. Very traditional, very old-fashioned in that you believe in chivalry and being a provider and a protector and a man of integrity, which is why you were our Man of Excellence honoree a couple years back. And so I really value your opinion. And I want to know, what is the best way for us to, I hate to use the term market, right? Because I'm not about marketing. You know me personally. I'm about keeping it real and like just presenting the facts like, hey, 1 in 8 women are diagnosed. I'm just going to use breast cancer right now. 1 in 833 men. There are certain people that say we can't reach men by saying, hey, men get breast cancer also, right? They want to use terms like chest cancer, which is incorrect. Anatomically speaking, scientifically, it's incorrect. But some marketing people believe, hey, whatever it takes to reach the men, do that. So what is your take on that?
Well, sure. I think that, I get a couple of things. So I do think that bringing attention to it, even if it's incorrect, is still, there's still a form of marketing there. And I know you don't want to use that term. But
right.
It's really to get to men. See, I think we're looking at it for most things we tend to be reactionary, right?
Yes.
Okay, so something happens and then you react to it, right? So men don't want to talk about breast cancer in women or men.
Yeah, I was just going to say, they don't even want to talk about it about women even. Yeah.
Until it's there.
Until it directly affects them.
So I think if you're asking if you want to, how do you get to men? How do you, without, in essence, not marketing.
Right.
Is like everything else, right? Whether it's crime or what have you, is that you have to start at a very young age. So if we don't expose them to the fact that this is more than just a female thing.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
That's right.
Yeah.
But in addition, expose them to all the other
Absolutely.
Like prostate cancer, right?
Absolutely.
So
yes.
I mean, I've heard that if you live long enough, you're going to eventually develop prostate cancer.
Yes.
So these are things that we need to talk about, but at a young age.
Yeah.
I think if you're asking me how do we get to people like my age, and that you're not.
Yeah.
I wish I could tell you that.
Yeah.
That you.
That makes me want to take a shot of tequila right now.
No. Go ahead. Cheers.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
But I think that again, instead of we just tend to react, and reactionary is just not the way, and that's. So, and then if you throw in culture, right? So
absolutely.
Coming from a Latino family, macho, the whole thing. You don't go to doctors.
You don't talk about it.
You don't talk about those things, right? You just ignore them like they don't exist, and then, until they're there and they exist.
And you can't ignore them. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. That's right. So, I don't think you can.
Yeah.
I wish I could tell you that this is how you do it, but you could run some commercials during Monday Night Football,
right?
But you know what they're going to do? They're going to go with the beer during that commercial. They're not going to pay attention to it. So
right.
That's in my opinion. You have to start at a very young age in which you kind of instill it. It's okay to talk about these things, right?
Right.
They're out there. They're bad. They're evil. There's nothing good about it, but it's important to have a line of communication and start talking about
Yeah.
these things so that you're more comfortable.
Sort of normalize it,
Yes.
right? Sort of.
Yeah.
So we talk about that a lot so you'll see like social media campaigns and posts from various entities that will say, lady, it's always addressed, ladies, talk to your daughters,
Yeah.
teach them what their normal is the minute they start developing breasts. But I say, hey, parents, talk to your children when they start hitting puberty that this is a possibility, and therefore you're sort of desexualizing it, degenderizing it at least, right? I'm not saying that we're going to be able to desexualize breasts, because we're not. This is America. We're not going to do that. And that's not my agenda. My agenda is to degenderize the disease of breast cancer.
Yeah.
And to bring light to and get men to talk about just men's health in general, specifically mental health, and then physical.
Right.
Because if your mental health is in order, odds are you're going to deal with your whatever physical stuff comes up as best as possible.
Right. As men, we're like cavemen. Okay.
Yeah.
So we tend to want to provide and protect. Those are the two things that all men want to do for their family, right? And we'll go to extremes to do either of those, and so that's what we do. And the grind of that, right? The guy that gets up and goes to work every day, and he does that for decades, and he makes the sacrifices
like my dad did,
and like
you do,
my dad has done. So
yeah.
The problem with that, it's not a problem. We
the reality of
it's
it.
what we want to do.
Yes.
We want to provide and we want to protect.
Yeah.
And so this allows us to do that, right? But the bad part of that is, things like missing functions, missing birthdays, missing things because you made that sacrifice. The thing with men is they never really get, I always try to tell like my family, imagine how upset I am when I miss something like that.
Yeah.
You're mad because I didn't show up.
Yeah.
I have to miss it, but I still have to go do the work.
Right.
So imagine how I feel.
Right.
I don't just get to be upset that it was missed.
Yeah.
I have to go physically
and then
do
turn the
work.
page. Right.
That's right.
Right.
So, but men typically don't have that outlet. They don't have those conversations with their families, right? They just, hey, I provide and protect. I make that sacrifice. Well, there's a real heavy mental aspect to that that just kind of breaks you down. And so those are things that we don't. I think, men should talk more about those types of things, because
Chris and I talk about that a lot, and his stress of providing and going to work and being a father and a husband and a provider and a partner to Evelyn. And we talk about that a lot.
It's I'll tell you what was enlightening for me was that I had my daughters both come and work for me, and my middle child worked a couple years ago, and she worked for almost 2 years for me, and then my older one. And she worked for me for about a week, and then she said, Dad, I never knew what you actually did.
Yeah.
I just know that you were gone all the time, and I know you were always working, and I remember hearing you getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning to go do a job and then come back. But never really.
She didn't know the magnitude of
I
that.
didn't really know what you did. I thought you just towed cars and that's it.
Yeah.
She said, but I've been in the office for a week now, and now I understand.
Yeah.
That you spend a lot of time you're babysitting, you're balancing books, you're paying bills, you're
doing it all.
Yeah, you're doing everything.
Yeah.
I didn't know you did any of those things.
Yeah.
And so I think, like I tell my kids, and I always joke around, I said, eventually, right, we all understand that our parents were right just about everything. Right?
Yeah, whether we like it or not, right?
And I always tell my kids, when I see that light bulb go off or I hear that, I say, well, you're just one step closer to realizing that we were right about absolutely everything we tried to tell you. But I was a teenager, you were a teenager.
Yeah.
You don't want to hear what they have to say,
right.
So, but I think that's important, because I think the mental part, again, getting back to the mental part of that stress is what is what gets to men. Heart attacks, right? High blood pressure. Those things are, stress levels, and you cannot eliminate stress from your life. It's just virtually impossible.
You got to manage it.
You have to manage it.
You got to be aware of it, number one, and you got to manage it.
That's right.
Yes.
And you have to be willing to say, I am stressed. I
Yeah.
need a break. I need to relax for a minute.
Yep.
And for people like myself who, have been taught to work,
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, man
It's
up, right?
It's difficult.
Man
right?
up,
It's
right?
difficult, right?
Yeah.
It's difficult to do that. Like, we'll go away for the weekend, which is rare. If I can
Yeah.
get a weekend away,
Yeah.
I can't turn it off.
No.
I can't sit there and just take in the moment.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Be present, fully present,
That's right,
and
'cause
disconnected.
The mind won't, it just
Right.
keeps going.
I get
and
it.
So that's, I think, a big challenge for men. And I think any man who's motivated or successful or wants to provide for his family, protect his family, is going to have difficulty with it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so,
wow, Chris
meditation is a big
Chris
one,
can really speak to that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like for me, meditation.
Yeah.
It's a big part of what helps me manage
Yeah.
the stress part of it.
Yeah.
Now, being an athlete, always being around stressful situations, all that kind of helped gear me towards being able to handle these things. But meditation, really, at the end of the day, 15, 20 minutes of just this is.
And we talk about meditation a lot on this show because it's something that you can do for free, anywhere, anytime, and there's no right or wrong way to do it. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So we just had psychic medium Bill Phillips on the show, and he has recorded a guided meditation CD actually in our studio at the Care Project, and we talked about just the importance of protecting your energy, managing your stress, quieting your mind, even if it's just 5-10 minutes. It makes such a difference, right? And for me, one of the forms of meditation that I do is I literally will make my coffee in the morning and go sit out in my gazebo in the backyard because it's, it doesn't matter what the weather is. I can sit under it and I fill my pool. And so that's like my in the hood version of a fancy fountain, right? Like I turn the water on in my pool. I listen to I drink my coffee and I just sit still. I don't have my phone. I don't talk to anybody. I'm not checking emails. I'm just sitting there with my feet on the ground. Like I'm in a chronic state of gratitude for simply waking up. And I know people think that's bullshit and it's not.
No.
But and at the end of the day, even right, just sitting down and going, "Oh my God, that was a day," but here I am right now. So what does meditation look like for you?
Well, for me, I've always been real heavy into like visualization, and that started probably right into high school, right? And so something that our coach taught us. So training the mind, and it's not easy to do.
No.
It's difficult to get into that state, but for me, it's just a complete form of getting lost in the breathing. So for me, I've had lots of people say, I can't, I've tried it and I can't do it. I said, if you just practice breathing for 5 minutes, you have done yourself a great, advantage, right? You've given yourself a great advantage to your health, I think. If that's all you've accomplished,
it's just how to breathe,
But for me, it starts as a breathing, but I get into that frame of mind where I tell people I'm not asleep. I'm awake, but it's almost like I'm there, right? I'm not there. It's so hard to describe.
It's like you're floating. It's like so for me, it's like daydreaming.
Yeah.
So I get into like a breathing, like the Calm app is one that's great for that, right?
Yeah.
And it'll tell you like breathe in, and you just breathe in, and it counts it down, and then you breathe out, and you're so focused on what it's telling you. It's kind of like getting a CT scan. They do the same thing. Breathe in, hold your breath, breathe out. And so when your mind is focused on that one task, it forces you to block out all the chatter.
That's right.
Right?
You have to really, and I find, in the beginning, I had to really refocus, right? So I would find myself getting into some really good deep breathing and felt good, and then I would find my mind wandering to something else, and I'd have to just shut it off and bring it back. And that took a while to get to there, but now I can get to that place pretty quickly.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I can tune out when the car's going by if they're going in the background, and all the
dogs barking.
They don't exist after a few minutes, and then. And I don't know. It's just I find that I think clearer after that. I feel better after that.
You're calmer. Don't you feel you're more calm?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And I can
so
definitely
you're
know
not
my stress
as,
levels.
You're not as
dropped.
reactionary, right? So you're more like, okay, I'm in this moment.
Right.
Okay. So for me, it's like if I'm sitting there and I'm trying to just sort of be still and just be present in that stillness, and then something will come in my mind like, oh, what am I doing today? Am I going to lunch with so-and-so? Do I have a podcast today? Do I need to answer that email from Chris? What I do now is like I visualize it in my mind like, oh, there's that thing, and I go, move on. You know, and I literally shoo it out of my mind and just move on. So
well, I'm a strong believer that if you really, if you can't see yourself doing it, right, how are you ever going to do it, right? Whatever it is you want to accomplish. So if I can't visualize myself doing it, how can I do it? Right. So that part of the breathing exercise and the meditation, it really helps me focus that vision. That I find myself coming out of that where I'm like, wow, I kind of have a little clearer vision of the road I need to take to get to where I want to go, and that's big,
that's
and
huge.
And it helps take the stress level down because even though that may be a stressful time and I have something coming up that's stressful, well, now if I have a clear path to that, right, something that might work, that helps bring that level.
Would you
down
call it
as
a
well.
coping mechanism? Or management, like how would you?
More management,
Okay.
I would say. I think out of necessity,
Yeah,
I started
absolutely.
it. The visualization thing, I always did, but I found that if I spent a little more time with the breathing part of it in there, that really helped.
That's
And
really
so
the
it's kind of
foundation,
it
yeah.
really, for me, I think was just wow. There were some times when I was just, so out of whack and just so stressed out, thinking I have to do something.
You know, we don't realize. Like I know I forget to breathe, and it sounds so stupid. But there's this funny, old comedian who She's not funny and old. Well, she kind of is funny and old now. But there's an old routine that came out in the '80s. I remember seeing it like on Showtime. And she's making fun of an old school aerobics instructor, and she's like, and then the bitch is like, and don't forget to breathe. And she's like, who forgets to breathe? And I'm like.
Yeah,
me?
I do too.
I do.
Absolutely.
Like my massage guy will be there and he's like working on a pressure point on my shoulder. He's like, I'm going to need you to breathe. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not breathing.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's really important. And I thank you so much for sharing that because that's huge. Chris, that's something that we need to talk about more, the whole breathing thing. And it's not just we always say, people get weirded out about hoodoo voodoo of it's meditation and it's visualization. No, it's just practical, everyday, simple steps that we can all take to manage stress, to manage anxiety, to manage all of that.
Yeah, you have to be willing to, kind of let your guard down, right? You have to say, okay, listen, all this is on me every day. I'm carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders, and I don't want to let the guard down for 1 second because if I do, the world comes crashing down. If I won't be able to accomplish this, I won't be able to do. I can't let any weakness in, right? And so you even getting a massage, right? You tend to be like, okay, or like stretching. I remember when I had a couple of injuries while I was playing, and stretch me. It's like you just God stop. You're I'm trying to bend your leg, and you just won't let me stop. Relax.
Let
and
go.
You just,
and
and that's difficult. I don't know if that's it's difficult for me personally. I think men. Particular, it's really hard to let go of that. So,
it's hard for me too. But then again, I've realized I have way more male energy than I do female. I think that's from growing up with 3 brothers and they're all athletes, and I don't have sisters. And
Absolutely.
you hear me say it every year at the gala. I'm not super girly. I put on my press-on nails once a year. But I get it. I get it, and it's a survival thing. So going back to how can we reach men? In your opinion, at this age, like I'm 50, you're about my age. It's really difficult at this point. I think the focus, if we had to choose one focus over the other, it would be the prevention. It would be starting young, like everything else.
Well, and let me tell you what the only thing that would help me at my age, I'm 52. So the only thing to help me is that I have a very good doctor.
Yeah.
Okay? I have a doctor that I really like. And people think I'm nuts because I tell them it took me a year to find my doctor. I fired all the other ones.
Yeah.
And they go, you fired him?
Yeah.
You do understand.
People don't realize you can do that, right? Yeah, we talk about that a lot.
I don't work for these doctors.
Yeah.
They're
They
supposed
work
to be,
for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if I hire them, I can turn around and fire them. So, and I dismissed some of them right over the phone. Never even got past the phone. And they realized, because when they realized I was interviewing them to be my doctor, they didn't want any part of it.
Right.
But I have a doctor who's old school. I have a doctor who, when I go to him with an issue, he doesn't bring the pad out, write me out a prescription and say, go fill this, take it, and come back in 3 months and I'll
see
check
how
it.
you're doing, yeah.
We spend 30, 40 minutes, literally, 30, 40 minutes talking. He wants to know what's going on in my life.
He's really getting to know you.
Do you have anything that's caused more stress, recently? How's your family? How's your job doing? He
getting the
asks
whole
all
dynamic, the whole picture, yeah.
And then he says, you're stressed, or you're this, or he'll say, I know you don't like to take medicine, so I can write you this, but can we try doing this instead?
First.
Can you focus on your diet? Can you walk a couple days a week?
Right.
Can you do those things? And then when you come back for your checkup, let's reevaluate. You're not at a dangerous level. If you're at a dangerous level, of course, if you're at a heart attack level or something like that, you have to take to get out of that danger zone.
Right,
but
of course.
He's not looking to write you a prescription.
Yeah.
He's looking to actually treat you for what you're suffering.
The whole patient and their whole situation.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so that's huge.
Yes.
In that, if I'm the kind of person I described earlier, I don't want to go to the doctor.
Absolutely not.
But I don't hesitate to go to this doctor and ask him questions because I know I'm going to get the right type of answer.
You're having an intelligent dialogue. You're having a conversation about your life, and he's literally learning all about your scenario, and your person.
Correct. Yeah. So that helps.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing. People just tend to believe that I have this doctor and whatever he says I do.
Yeah.
And I go,
we talk about that a lot on the show. Is like, you got to be your advocate. You got to speak up. You got to, yes, hear them out and whatnot, but then listen to your gut. And if it doesn't sit right with you, talk to somebody else.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us and giving us your perspective. I think we'll definitely be having you on another show by yourself again. Just like Carl, right?
I do have the answers to everything.
I know you do. So. Thank you so much, Ruben. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Karen.
All right, take care.
Well, that was a lot.
That was a lot.
That was a lot of you talking, not me.
I know.
You got stuck doing all the work tonight.
You get to do all the editing. I get to go home and forget about it.
Well, I mean, hell, we had Carl on, PR guy that you and him don't necessarily agree with.
Cancer survivor.
Yeah, badass.
Yeah. He believes in keeping it as real as I do.
Whatever they have to do just to save the life.
Yeah.
And then you had Ruben on, who, I mean, you would never think that guy is somebody that sits in his truck and does meditation during the day or anything.
Right.
Because he drives a giant truck that tows
he's the
cars.
owner of a towing company. He's a very old school, I hate to say macho, but he's a traditional manly man, and
providing for the family, doing everything he has to do,
running the family business, and
The one thing I can say that I related very much to Ruben was breathing.
Yeah.
And I have it's weird because I'm in communications. I should be able to breathe. I should be able to talk. I'm in radio.
Right.
I should be able to cadence myself. But when I get excited, I can't.
Yeah.
Or when I get nervous, I can't. Or when I have anxiety, I can't. And lately I've been literally, when he said I just sit and I breathe for 5 minutes, I'm like, I've learned to listen to myself breathe.
Yeah.
Just for a few seconds.
I'm telling you, Chris, there are days where Daryl, my massage therapist from One Touch Massage, comes over and he's like doing a pressure point, and he's like, breathe. And I'm like, I am breathing. He's like, you're not. And like, we've had all out arguments. And then I take a deep breath. He's like, no, exhale. And when I do, he goes deeper and like, pushing down in that point in my shoulder. I'm like, oh. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm not breathing. So yeah, it's very important. I think it's very important. And this only opens the conversation for how do we, as people trying to get a message out and help others, with awareness of all things health and wellness. This is not just breast cancer. This is all things health and wellness, men's health, especially mental health.
Yes.
Right? Mental health is everything.
It's real. I can promise you it's real.
Yeah.
One other thing before we get out of here, one other thing I can relate to what Ruben said was missing your kids' functions. I've always been an at-home dad in a sense where I've been able to run businesses. And I was working at Beverly Hills doing podcasting, and I saw my kids for an hour before school and 20 minutes before bed.
Yeah.
And then on the weekends, I wouldn't want to do anything else because it was just like them.
Yeah.
I think that was probably one of the hardest things that I had to deal with. And that's
Right.
probably what had a big part of my anxiety, my breakdown, was that fact that I wasn't seeing my kids, which, hell, I'm happy that was the problem.
Right.
Because I love my kids, and
right.
I'd rather be with them than not with them. So
right, absolutely.
Yeah. Wow, what a show.
Yeah, great show.
Yeah.
Special thanks to Mario Dorado, owner of Raincross Barbershop, for hosting us Monday Night Football. I don't even know what's the score.
It's halftime. It's 20-7
Is
right
it
now.
only halftime?
Yeah, it's halftime. But it's
Oh
time
my
to.
gosh.
It's getting dark. You have a ride home.
Yeah, I got to ride home.
All right, I blindy.
Yeah, thanks so much for bringing the travel equipment out. And
Yeah, no, go to thisisfunner.com and go to thecareprojectinc.org to check out all our stuff. Please rate, review, subscribe, share this with a friend.
And if you want to be on the show and talk more about men's health,
yeah, let us know. You can find us anywhere.
Absolutely.
How do you end all the shows?
Take care.
That was easy.
That was easy.
Thank you for listening to Handle with Care, Cancer and Beyond. Please let us know what you think of the show by leaving a rating and review. And don't forget to share it with a friend. For more information or to connect with Carrie, go to thecareprojectinc.org.
Can you have zero interest in something and still really want it? Your wallet would say yes. And with Simply Zero from South Carolina Federal Credit Union, you can transfer credit card balances and get 0% intro APR for 12 months. That's right, no interest all year. So you pay less and keep more. To learn more, visit scfederal.org/simply0. That's scfederal.org/simply0. Variable APR ranges from 11.74% to 17.99% thereafter. Limited time offer restrictions apply.